with a silver coin on his right dead eye. The preacher said, let the sinner sleep, but the ground below started breathing deep. Three men laughed by the cedar gate with a whiskey breath and a guilty faith. They thought the dirt made a final bed till the black soul moved and raised the dead. The church bell cracked, the moon went thin, a hand broke through with fire on the skin. 6 feet couldn't hold him, hell couldn't keep him down. He came back smoking through the graveyard ground. No rope, no stone, no coffin, no hymn. Death lost its grip when the devil looked at him. He walked to town with the dirt still wet and a blood-red mark where the rope had set. The sheriff saw him through the saloon door glass, dropped his gun and forgot his past. He said, I ain't back for the breath you stole, I'm back for the price of a murdered soul. You buried my name with your dirty lie, now watch that lie learn how to die. The lantern swung, the bar went cold. Every sinner there felt his own grave fold. 6 feet couldn't hold him, hell couldn't keep him down. He came back smoking through the graveyard ground. No rope, no stone, no coffin, no hymn. Death lost its grip when the devil looked at him. I heard them cover me with dirt, I heard them spit on my name, but vengeance don't rot and fire don't sleep. So I stood up under the earth, brought the grave with me. I rose with thunder, I came with flame. 6 feet under, couldn't kill my name. Through the graveyard ground. No rope, no stone, no coffin, no hymn. Death lost its grip when the devil looked at him. 6 feet couldn't hold him, no prayer made him tame. He walked out burning with judgment in his name. When the grave dirt trembles and the black winds call, don't ask who's coming. 6 feet ain't deep at all. the courthouse wall when the black-hat rider came for all. His coat was torn, his hands were burned, and every guilty head slowly turned. They said he died where the canyon splits, with a bullet deep and a curse on his lips. But dust rose up from the western ground, and sinners ran from sundown. The preacher dropped his silver cross, the sheriff felt his courage lost. Then the wind cried low through a ghost town sound, and sinners ran from sundown. Sinners ran from sundown. Fire chased the sky. The dead man came walking with hell in his eye. No prayer could save them, no law stood proud. The devil looked west when sinners ran from sundown. He kicked the door of the judge's room with a thunder step and a mouth of doom. Said, you sold my blood for a clean white lie. Now truth rides back and it don't ask why. The banker cried with his Bible close. The mayor hid where the black smoke rose. But every sin that they buried deep woke up hungry from a dead man's sleep. The bar lights cracked, the gallows swayed. The righteous begged and the wicked prayed, but no one hid when the gun smoke crowned the reason sinners ran from sundown. Sinners ran from sundown. Fire chased the sky. The dead man came walking with hell in his eye. No prayer could save them, no law stood proud. The devil looked west when sinners ran from sundown. I never asked to be feared, I asked for truth. They gave me a grave, they gave me rope, they gave me silence. So I came back loud enough for every sinner to hear my boots. Red sky burning, black dust crown. I rose with the sun, and they all ran down. Chapel flame, but judgment rode faster and called every name. When the red light falls on a lawless town, count your sins quick, sinners run from sundown. Bye. broken cross and a heart of coal. Had black dust packed in every scar, and a dead man's curse beneath his arms. The town went quiet when his shadow fell, like the road itself had walked through hell. He tipped his hat to the chapel flame, said, I came back clean, but not the same. They said no soul could wash that stain, no sinner rises through that pain. But the red dirt cracked and the sky confessed when redemption wore a bullet vest. Black dust, redemption, fire in his soul. He burned through the darkness that tried to take control. No grave could claim him, no devil held possession. He walked out of hell with black dust redemption. The banker laughed from a golden chair till he saw that outlaw standing there. The judge went pale, the preacher shook when he opened up that blood-stained book. He said, I ain't here for a killing spree. I came for the truth they stole from me. You buried my name in a sinner's ground. Now I'm here to burn your kingdom down. The lanterns died, the piano screamed. The devil woke from a wicked dream, and the whole West learned that a dead man's confession can rise up black with redemption. Black dust, redemption, fire in his soul. He burned through the darkness that tried to take control. No grave could claim him, no devil held possession. He walked out of hell with black dust redemption. I was not saved by angels, I was not washed in light. I was dragged through the fire, till the fire learned my bite. If redemption wants a clean man, it can keep on walking. I came back dirty, but I came back standing. Black dust rising, red hands clean. I found salvation where hell had been. He burned through the darkness that tried to take control. No grave could claim him, no grave could claim. No devil held possession, no devil held possession. He walked out of hell with black dust redemption. Black dust redemption, smoke in the rain. Worn outlaw rising past the devil's chain. When the black dust blows, The chapel starts shaking. Lock up your sins. Redemption is waking. They built the rope from preacher's twine underneath a blood-red sign. The hangman stood with shaking hands while the outlaw smiled across the sand. He had a scar from a bullet's kiss and a name that lived on a devil's list. The crowd went cold when he raised his head, like a man who'd already made peace with the dead. They said, "Any last words before you swing?" He said, "Tell hell I ain't wearing its ring." Then the sky cracked wide and the church bells cursed when the hangman dropped down and prayed first. The hangman prayed first. When the black robe burned, the dead dust rose, and the whole town learned, you don't bury fire, you don't chain the cursed. When the outlaw left, the hangman prayed first. The rope snapped hard like a thunderbone, and he hit the ground like judgment stone. The sheriff ran with a silver gun, but the outlaw stood where shadows run. He said, "I was sold for a rich man's lie, left for the buzzards and the desert sky. Now I'm back with a debt to claim, and I brought a little hellfire wearing my name." The moon went black, the lanterns failed, the sinners screamed and the righteous paled. And somewhere deep where the demons thirst, the devil heard that hangman pray first. The hangman prayed first. When the black robe burned, the dead dust rose, and the whole town learned, you don't bury fire, you don't chain the cursed. When the outlaw left, the hangman prayed first. I ain't afraid of rope, I ain't afraid of flame. I've had death call me brother, and hell speak my name. But when a guilty man prays, he don't pray to be saved, he prays the thing he buried. Don't climb out of the grave. I came from dirt, I came from thirst. I saw fear kneel when the hangman prayed first. Bible full of bullets, a soul that wouldn't hurt. You don't bury fire, you don't chain the cursed. When the outlaw rose, the hangman prayed first. So when the rope starts swaying and the red moon comes down, don't stand too close to that judgment ground. The barroom feared his name before. His boots came through that swinging door. The whiskey turned to smoke and shame when the dead man's shadow touched the flame. There were bullet holes in his long black coat and a hangman scar around his throat. He laid one shell by the candlelight, said, "Boys, we settle accounts tonight." The card hands froze, the piano quit. The devil himself leaned back from it. Then the floorboards groaned like they knew the game, and the barroom feared his name. The barroom feared his name. The fire knew his face. He came back from dying with hell out of place. No bottle, no bullet, no sinner's claim could stand in the smoke when the barroom feared his name. The sheriff had sold him for cattle land, with a silver badge and a shaking hand. The mayor poured lies in a crystal glass, but truth walked in like a thunderclap. He said, "I heard you laughing when they cut me down. I heard you cheering from the edge of town. Now every toast that you raised for me is coming back with interest and misery." The lamps burned blue, the windows cracked. The guilty prayed, but no prayer came back. And out in the street where the red dust flamed, the whole West feared his name. The barroom feared his name. The fire knew his face. He came back from dying with hell out of place. No bottle, no bullet, no sinner's claim could stand in the smoke when the barroom feared his name. I ain't here to drink, I ain't here to laugh. I came for the cowards who wrote my epitaph. You put my name in the dirt, now I'll put yours in the flame. And by sunrise, this bar will remember my name. No last call, no mercy game. The dead walked in, and the barroom feared his name. He came back from dying with hell out of place. No bottle, no bullet, no sinner's claim could stand in the smoke when the barroom feared his name. The barroom feared his name. The devil stepped aside. One outlaw returned with a grave in his eyes. When the last glass falls and the red lamps fade, don't whisper too loud what the dead man made. Shadows crawl, stood a burned out church and a bullet wall. The barroom clock struck 13 times when he walked in wearing other men's crimes. He had a coat made black by flame and a widow's curse tattooed with his name. The piano man quit halfway through when that outlaw said, "I'm looking for you." They said the devil owned this ground till that black hat rider came around, and the well went dry and the moon fell down, and by sunrise the devil left town. The devil left town when the dead man came with a fist full of thunder and a mouth full of flame. No chain could bind him, no grave held him down. Hell lost its nerve and the devil left town. The mayor hid gold in a cedar chest. The judge wore lies like a Sunday vest. The sheriff said, "Boy, you best move on," but his pistol shook like a sinner's song. The outlaw laughed with a cold black grin, said, "I ain't here for where I've been. I'm here for every soul you sold, and the names you carved into desert stone." The lamps blew out, the windows cried, the holy men had no place to hide. And deep below that cursed old ground, the devil packed up and left that town. The devil left town when the dead man came with a fist full of thunder and a mouth full of flame. No chain could bind him, no grave held him down. Hell lost its nerve and the devil left town. I knocked on hell's door. Nobody answered. I kicked it in. The devil was standing there, counting the souls of cowards. I told him, "You missed one." I don't need saving. I don't need ground. I came back breathing, and the devil left town. Sistine Chapel and the gallows pole. No prayer could stop him, no law made a sound. One outlaw rose, and the devil left town. If you hear boots walking where the dead sleep deep, don't call the devil, he already left that street. Wall, said that's the end of him, boys, that's all. But the coat kept dripping with graveyard rain, and every thread still spoke his name. At midnight sharp, the lanterns died, a horse screamed out on the far west side. The coat fell down with a thunder crack, and the whole town knew that Black Coat came back. The judge dropped low, the sheriff prayed, the preacher forgot every word he made. Then boots hit wood and the windows cracked when the man in the black coat came back. The black coat came back with fire in the seams, with hell in his footsteps and blood in his dreams. No rope, no grave, no six-gun attack could keep him down when the Black Coat came back. He walked through town like a funeral storm, with a dead man's face and a sinner reborn. The men who lied for a piece of land felt judgment crawl from his right hand. He said, I wore this coat when they took my breath. I wore this coat when I wrestled death. Now every button, every burn, every seam carries the truth of your dirty dream. The bar door slammed, the piano fell. The devil leaned out from the mouth of hell, then turned away down a railroad track when he saw that the Black Coat came back. The Black Coat came back with fire in the seams, with hell in his footsteps and blood in his dreams. No rope, no grave, no six-gun attack could keep him down when the Black Coat came back. They took my name, they took my land, they took my breath with their clean white hands, but they left this coat, and a coat remembers every bullet, every lie, every ember. Black cloth burning, red dust track. Death looked away when the Black Coat came back. grave. No six-gun attack could keep him down when the black coat came back. The black coat came back through smoke and rain. One dead outlaw with a living flame. When the coat starts moving on the jailhouse rack, run for the hills. The black coat came back. With a rattlesnake cross and a bullet nearby. The vultures circled but they would not land, like they knew damn well he was more than a man. He came from nowhere with the sun burned black, a rope on his shoulder and a knife in his back. 3 men swore they had put him down, but 3 graves opened on the edge of town. The preacher said, son, let your sins wash away. He said, save your water, dust, don't pray. Then the floorboards cracked and the land unswayed. When he spoke those words no saint would say. Dust, don't pray, fire, don't kneel. Dead men rise when the curse gets real. He walked through smoke, he came through flame. He'll said his name, but dust don't pray. He rode into town with a coffin grin. Said, I heard there's a dead I'm still living in. The banker froze and the sheriff turned white when the outlaw stepped through the door that night. He said, you sold my land and you stole my blood, then buried the truth in the red clay mud. Now the dirt's come knocking with a loaded hand, and the last prayer left is where I stand. The church bell screamed, the dogs ran low, the sky split wide with a copper glow, and the devil watched from a mile away, 'cause even he knew that dust don't pray. Dust don't pray, fire don't kneel. Dead men rise when the curse gets real. He walked through smoke, he came through flame. Hell said his name, but dust don't play. I was made from hunger, I was raised by heat. I learned God's voice from the dirt under my feet. So don't ask me for mercy when you never gave mine. I came back from the grave to collect what's divine. Ash to ash, dead to dead. I ain't forgiven, and I don't forget. through smoke, he came through flame. Hell said his name, but dust don't pray. Dust don't pray, blood don't lie. The guilty shake when the dead walk by. He carved his truth in the judgment clay. The devil backed down, 'cause dust don't pray. When the wind turns black and the church doors sway, lock up your sins, 'cause dust don't pray. Saw his grave at dawn, a black hole wide where the dirt was gone. The wooden cross laid split in two, and the wind said, he's coming for you. He had signed the paper, tied the rope, watched that outlaw choke on hope. But now the ground stood open wide, and the dead man's boots were not inside. The sheriff ran to the courthouse bell, but the bell rang back like a sound from hell. Then a voice rolled low through the morning haze. The sheriff saw his grave. The sheriff saw his grave and his courage fell. The man he buried came walking out of hell. No badge, no gun, no law could save. Truth came rising when the sheriff saw his grave. By noon the town had shut its doors. Whiskey spilled on the saloon floor. The judge had packed a silver lies, but fear was standing in his eyes. The outlaw came with a dead man's grin, said, "You boys done fed the fire within. You called me guilty, you called me slave. Now watch me bury what you gave." The jailhouse shook, the windows cried. The sheriff's shadow tried to hide, but every road and every flame led back to that empty grave. The sheriff saw his grave and his courage fell. The man he buried came walking out of hell. No badge, no gun, no law could save. Truth came rising when the sheriff saw his grave. You put me under with your clean little eye. You watched my mother beg the western sky. But dirt remembers, blood don't behave, and I came back breathing from the hole you made. Badge turned black, rope came loose, dead men rise when they know the truth. When the sheriff saw his grave, the sheriff saw his grave with the cross split wide, and every lie he carried crawled back inside. When the grave stands empty and the black winds wave, there ain't no running from the debt you gave. Cross, so there's one more sinner lost. The red dirt on his broken chest, then rode back home like men at rest. But the ground got hot when the midnight came, and the stone cracked wide around his name. A black crow screamed from the chapel frame, like hell itself had lost the game. The preacher whispered, "Lord, have mercy." The sheriff reached for his gun too late. Then a boot hit dirt from 6 feet under, and the devil locked his gate. Hell couldn't hold his name, fire couldn't own his soul. He came back meaner than thunder, with a heart made out of coal. No grave, no chain, no sinner's flame. The devil bowed his head in shame. Hell couldn't hold his name. He walked through town with a preacher's stare, smoke in his coat and blood in his hair. The men sold him for a sack of gold, felt their prayers turn dead and cold. He said, "I ain't here to beg or bleed, I'm here to collect what belongs to me. You buried a man, but you raised a storm. Now every liar here gets warned." The windows shook, the bar lights died, the whiskey burned and the cowards cried. When he carved his truth in the courthouse frame, the West remembered his name. Hell couldn't hold his name, fire couldn't own his soul. He came back meaner than thunder, with a heart made out of coal. No grave, no laughing when the dirt fell. I heard every lie they told. But down there in the dark, something older than fear woke up. And when hell asked for my name, I gave it theirs. I rose with smoke, I came with blame. I burned through death and kept my name. A curse in the canyon, a shadow wrapped in flame, a dead man walking westward with judgment in his veins. When the desert wind starts screaming and the chapel bells complain, don't speak too loud after midnight. Hell couldn't hold his name. Tavern wall with a knife and a preacher's call. Said he owed blood, said he owed sin, said no man rides out clean again. He came back wearing a coal-black vest with a burn mark carved across his chest. Laid one coin on the barroom wood, said that's all I owe, and I paid it good. The judge went pale, the sheriff froze, the candle flames bent down low, and the dead man smiled and the room went wet with the cold hard weight of a dead man's dead. Dead man's dead, paid in fire, black smoke rising from the liar's choir. No grave, no rope, no last regret. Hell keeps counting on a dead man's debt. He rode through rain that smelled like rust, past a chapel drowned in desert dust. Every name that had done him wrong was beaten inside like a war drum song. He said, I ain't here to beg for grace, I came to put fear in a guilty face. You sold my soul for a banker's breath, now you answer to a dead past death. The piano cracked, the whiskey spilled, every brave man lost his will, and the devil leaned from the black sunset just to witness that dead man's dead. Dead man's dead. dead man's dead. I heard every coin hit the table. I heard every coward say my name. But when a man is buried with unfinished fire, the dirt becomes a doorway. And tonight, I came to settle the bill. Ash in my mouth, smoke in my breath. I came back living on a dead man's debt. Payment at the devil's door. When the last bell breaks and the black road sweat, lock your sins up tight. Here comes a dead man's debt.